There's a type of person who people feel instantly comfortable around. The one they text when things fall apart. The one who listens without judgment. Who gives advice at 2 a.m. Who remembers the small things. Who makes everything feel safe. Easy to talk to, easy to trust, easy to be around. But somehow, never the one chosen. If you've ever been told you're amazing, thoughtful, different from everyone else by the person who didn't choose you, stay with me, because what I'm about to explain will change how you see this pattern. You've probably heard something like this before. You're going to make someone so happy one day. I just don't want to ruin our friendship. You mean so much to me. And if that's happened more than once, it isn't random. There's something underneath it, and it's not what you've been told. Let's start with what this isn't. You're not unattractive. You're not too nice. You're not lacking something everyone else has. The confusion is real because by most measures, you're doing everything right. Showing up, being present, being the kind of person people say they want. And then you watch them choose someone who gives less. Someone inconsistent. Someone who creates more confusion than clarity. And you think, what am I missing? Here's where it gets complicated. There's a psychological difference between someone feeling safe with you and someone feeling desire for you. And those two things don't always build the same way. Psychologist Robert Sternberg's research on love identified three components: intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy is closeness, the feeling of being understood, supported, emotionally connected. Passion is different. It's activation, a pull that doesn't feel entirely settled. Friendship is built almost entirely on intimacy. It's stable. It's safe. Romantic attraction often includes something else, an element of tension, of uncertainty, of not quite knowing where you stand. And here's the part that rarely gets said out loud. When connection is built entirely on safety, when the other person never wonders, never feels a little off balance, desire sometimes doesn't know where to enter. It's not that safety is wrong. It's that safety and desire often grow in different conditions. And for some people, safety is the only language of connection they know. They bond by caretaking, by being the one who helps, who stabilizes, who holds space. It's not a deliberate strategy. It's how they learn to connect, maybe how they learned to matter. But romantic desire often grows through something different. Curiosity, the little question mark, a sense that this person has a life you want to be pulled into. Not just a life that's already orbiting yours. When someone becomes the emotional anchor first, it can be hard to become anything else. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because the relationship found its shape early. And that shape was friendship. And then there's pacing. When closeness happens all at once, the availability, the attention, the emotional investment, there's no room for longing to develop, no space for the other person to wonder and let the mind drift. This isn't about games. It's about how desire often needs gaps to grow into. And sometimes people give everything up front because holding back feels dishonest to them. That's not a flaw, but it can close a door before it ever fully opens. There's one more layer worth understanding. Tension feels unsafe to some people, so they soften it, smooth it, remove it before it becomes uncomfortable. They don't tease because teasing might land wrong. They don't challenge because challenge might push someone away. They don't risk the awkward confession because rejection would be unbearable. So they keep things comfortable, warm, easy. But friction, healthy friction, is often where spark lives. And without it, connection can feel close, stable, and completely flat. But here's where it goes deeper. And if any of this has felt familiar so far, this part might hit closer. Sometimes this pattern isn't really about the other person at all. It's about how safe feels more comfortable than risking rejection. Being the friend means never having to fully expose what you want. You can stay close without putting yourself on the line. You can give everything, except the one thing that makes you vulnerable: clear desire. Flirting is exposure. Expressing want is a risk. And friendship, especially one-sided friendship that secretly hopes for more, can feel like the safer version of what you actually want. Not because you're weak, but because somewhere along the way, being needed started to feel safer than being wanted. And wanting something openly started to feel like too much to ask. Maybe you've learned early that your value came from what you gave, not who you were. Maybe you learned that needs made you a burden. Maybe you learned that people stay when you're useful. and leave when you ask for something back. So you build a version of connection that never asks, that gives endlessly, that earns closeness through caretaking instead of risking it through honesty. That's not a flaw. That's a pattern that made sense, a way of staying close without ever being truly vulnerable. And the hardest part? This isn't usually a one-time thing. Different people, different years, same ending. After a while, you start to recognize the arc before it even finishes. The closeness that builds, the hope that quickly grows, and then the conversation that puts you gently back in your place. You mean so much to me. I just don't see you that way. I don't want to lose you. And you nod. You say you understand. You stay friends, or try to, while quietly grieving something that never officially existed. Because that's the cruelest part. There's no breakup, no closure, just a slow realization that it was never going to happen, and you're left holding feelings you were never invited to have. After a while, you stop trusting your own hope. You assume every connection will end here. You brace for the friend zone before you even get there, which only makes you more cautious, more careful, more likely to end up exactly where you expected. The pattern doesn't just repeat, it reinforces itself. Here's what's worth sitting with. Being the person others feel safe with is not a weakness. It's rare, it's meaningful, it's something most people want but rarely find. But safety and desire aren't the same thing. And the version of connection that caretakes, that gives, that never asks, that version might be protecting something. Not the relationship, something older. The part that learned wanting was dangerous. That asking meant losing. That being chosen was something that happened to other people. That's a reasonable response to an inner world that made desire feel like too much. But it's worth asking, what if the pattern isn't about being not enough? What if it's about hiding the part that wants? Maybe nothing changes. Maybe the pattern holds. Or maybe the thing that's been missing isn't something to learn. It's something that's been there all along, just waiting to be shown. Trust and desire are built differently. One is earned through consistency. The other is sparked through honesty. And sometimes the people most capable of love are the ones who've been hiding it the longest, waiting to be chosen when they could have been choosing all along. If this hit you close to home, you're not alone. Drop a comment if you've ever been told you're perfect by someone who didn't choose you. Subscribe if you want more like this. There's a lot more to unpack.